This is an example of how I would start modelling. I like this and I don't like this with a student, as well as supporting them to achieve a curriculum goal around demonstrating preference. For most students, I would start with a single stimulus item. So this is just a piece of rubber that's very rough. You can make noise with it. A student can feel that there's ribs of rubber in it. I would be placing this in front of them where it's accessible for them to touch and explore with their hands. For students who have limited mobility, they might need some support to access it physically, or they might need it on a different part of their body, like on their feet or on their forearm, wherever is accessible to them. And I would be giving them the opportunity to explore it, looking for any sign that they're interested in it, moving their fingers, pushing their arm against it to feel if there's any different sensation, moving their feet on it. And if they're demonstrating any of that interest, if they're exploring it for an extended period of time, then I would be modelling, I like this. I'd be making those comments. I can see you're really interested. You're looking at it. You're exploring it. I can see you're touching it. Oh, you're telling me you like this. On the other hand, if you present it and a student pulls their hand away, or they kind of feel it for a minute and then decide it's not really for them, and they kind of take a step back and go back to looking around the room or looking at you, then I would be modelling, oh, you don't really like this as much. That's fine. It feels a bit weird maybe. You might have a pod book that you're modelling some of those other adjectives and describing words. It's really bumpy, it's really rough. Maybe you don't like that feeling. That's okay. That would be demonstrating a preference. For students who aren't at the level of symbolic communication, where that's not a goal for them, I'd be presenting potentially two different items for them to feel, things that are quite contrasting. So again, this is very rough, very bumpy. This, in contrast, is rubbery plastic that's very smooth and glossy. So visually, they're quite distinct. Ideally, you go for something with different colours as well. But they feel very different. They sound very different when you're touching them. They're a very different experience to touch and manipulate. So I'd be presenting both for students who can take information in with two hands at the same time. You can put both their hands on the items, again, letting them explore it, feel it. If they show a clear preference for the other, like they move their hand across, or again, if they just take their hand off, keeping in mind dominant handedness, you might want to present both one after the other. If they have a clear preference for a left or right hand, or maybe have limited mobility in one hand, and letting them explore both and seeing if they go back to one or spend more time with the other, in which case they would be informally communicating a preference and communicating a like versus a don't like.